the great Kirk Herbstreit joins. I got to tell you, Herbie. So Sunday, I think it was Sunday. It was either Sunday or Saturday. You text me, and the contents of the text shall not be revealed. But I'm sitting there, and I'm playing in this big money golf thing. It's Calcutta. And I got two guys with my brother's my partner and two guys. And my phone is sitting there, and the two guys look, and I became a hero to these two guys. They're like, wait, Kirk Herbstreit's? Yeah. And they said, well, what did he say? He said, hey, you two idiots, help Dan win this tournament and make some freaking money, you clowns. So anyway, I became a big man in their eyes at the Gary Country Club in Gary. Yeah. So thank you.
Are you a baller?
How's
are you good? Are you a good player?
I'm a 6 handicap that played like a donkey, but I won. Yeah, but I won 20 grand. We won 20 grand. My brother and I won 20 grand in this tournament. How about that? That's a pretty good day.
That's impressive.
And I think I drank the country club out of vodka too in celebration. You know what I mean? I just think, it's hey, how's the dog?
That's a hell of a day. Good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. How's the dog?
He's doing okay. I haven't really talked about that yet publicly. My dog Ben last year, I just took him on the road with me, and then the college football community kind of fell in love with him. That wasn't really the intention, but he's got such a way about him that people just kind of gravitated towards him. So they look forward to him being on the road, and he's had a tough few months. He got diagnosed with leukemia. And yeah, man. And then they had to open him up, and they found a couple masses on his spleen and intestine, and they took out his spleen and took a mass out of his intestine. So it's been touch and go here for the last 4 months. And yeah, I need to probably do something on social media, because I haven't. People ask more about him than me. They don't really care about me, but they care about him. So I probably need to do something about that for sure.
I followed you. I followed you with Ben over the course of, and I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, I'm not the greatest dog lover. We have a dog, but I can tell how emotional, how much you love the dog, and that's very cool. I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Yeah.
I got it. All right. Hey, and college football fans love that dog. Like, I'm sitting there going, wait a second, I like dogs and all, but damn, you people are out of your freaking minds on this dog, which was pretty cool. Well,
so what have you been doing this summer besides enjoying the Olympics?
I've been doing that. I've been doing this show. I'm an empty nester, so I play too much golf, and try to figure, and following Michigan football. Herbie, I gotta ask you. They're bringing Harbaugh back to be the captain. Give me your thoughts on this. Give me your thoughts on this whole deal.
You've been around the college game for so long, and you understand that it's so hard for me. It's so hard to know what's real and not real. Right. So I always, when teams get into these crosshairs, I always try to be respectful of, listen, I have no idea what's you go by social media. If you're a Michigan fan, nothing happened. And if you're not a Michigan fan, they did everything wrong. You know how it works. And so I've always tried to just sit back and wait. In this case, this has nothing to do with Connor Stallions, the latest deal with the show cause and all that. That goes all the way back to COVID, and recruiting and things of that nature. NCAA hasn't even gotten to Connor Stallions. I mean, I have no idea. I guess the player in me and the current coach, and the Sharon Moore and whoever is involved, you hope to see that it's on Jim Harbaugh, and if they're whatever it is, and he's in the NFL, and the program, the players that are there, that many of them weren't even there when a lot of this went down, that they don't have to pay the consequences. You'd hate to see some kind of postseason stuff come on into it, and who knows? I think Michigan fans, when they won the national title last year and the Big Ten suspended Harbaugh for 3 games, I think a lot of them thought, okay, that was the punishment. We're done with that. Let's move on. And that was just a Big Ten because they didn't really know how to respond. So that was just a Big Ten. You knew that eventually down the road, the NCAA would get involved. And again, can you tell me how the NCAA, what jurisdiction they have anymore, what power they
I
have
don't know.
anymore? It's very confusing to me.
Is Michigan sticking it to the NCAA by bringing Harbaugh back to be captain? Or are they just making light of it?
I think they're just kind of living in their own world of just, hey, it's before the NFL season starts. He's our guy, and we're going to bring him back. I don't know if they're sticking to anybody, but I think they're going on business as usual. Why not bring back coach and celebrate the championship that he brought to him? I think it's easy to maybe take that. It's easy to kind of take that that's what they're doing, but I think it's just them bringing their guy back to have a big celebration and for what they accomplished last year.
I've said this, and I don't know if you agree or disagree, but I think you'll see the biggest ovation maybe ever in the big house when he comes back in there for all this stuff over here. People love that, right? People love to do that. Stick it to the man, whether they're doing it or not, right?
Yeah, he will. Are you kidding me? That will be an unbelievable setting when I'm sure he'll walk out of that tunnel and it'll just be, he's back. And not just winning that championship, but despite all of that swirling around, here I am. He'll probably have his khakis on, his Block M hat on, and away we go. That's what it'll be, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've been very critical because, well, my son went there, and all they talk about is being a Michigan man. We're Michigan men, and I send him all these things to him. I go, "Is this a Michigan man? Is this what you learned? Is this what you're supposed to be?" And the response is, "Shut up, Dad. Leave me alone." Right? Leave me alone.
How does he feel? Because he played at both places. Where is his allegiance? Is he more of a Michigan guy?
He honestly, he did play for a year at Ohio State, and Jayshawn Tate, one of his teammates, and Keita Bates-Diop embraced him. And Jayshawn stayed with us, after that year all summer. But he's best friends with Duncan Robinson, best friends with Mo Wagner. They were college roommates. For whatever the reason, he feels allegiance to both, probably a little more to Michigan because he was there 4 years, but he had such a great experience at both, Herbie. I'm not dodging the question. I've asked him this. He said, the only problem is, he goes, when he went back to Michigan with Mo and a couple football players, some guys, tried to give him a hard time, call him a traitor, and thankfully he was with a bunch of guys a lot bigger than him, so nothing had to happen, right? But he just had such a great experience with Beeline and Holtman and all the players that, I don't know. Hey, did you get any blowback on talking about men should not play women's sports?
I didn't get anything from ESPN. I mean, if that's what you mean, nobody said anything to me.
No. I mean, I do mean that, but I also mean, you get blowback no matter what. You hate everybody's team, or you're a homer for everybody. Yeah,
I could say it's a beautiful Tuesday afternoon, and people would be offended.
Right.
Wednesday would be offended that I didn't say anything nice about Wednesday. So that's the
world you live in. What made you come out? What made you come out and respond to that? Because a lot of people are afraid to get into that conversation, swim in those waters.
I think I've been biting my tongue on a lot of topics for 3 years. I sent a tweet out. I get pretty quiet in the off season. I sent a tweet out about something. It might've been about college football coming up. And I've gotten into a habit of not scrolling and looking at the comments because it's obviously pretty bad. And so I happened to see somebody say what he said. I think he said, should men be able to play in women's sports? And I just was like, I'm just going to give a quick answer. Ridiculous question. Of course not. I didn't dwell on it. I didn't give a long answer. That was it. and I didn't realize it would be way more positive than negative. I'm sure people are upset about it. I think it's kind of a no brainer. I don't have a daughter. I have 4 sons. If I had a daughter, I'd probably be way more outspoken about the discussion and the topic. But I just kind of made it sound like why are you even asking this question? Is kind of the way I took it. But yeah, man, I guess Lee Corso used to give a speech, and one of the things he would say within that speech is he's like, don't ask me about race, religion, or politics, or don't talk publicly about race, religion, or politics. And now I think that's all anybody talks about is race, religion, or politics, and so I've tried to just, you and I've texted. I mean, I've tried to stay on the sidelines for a lot of that, but you can only take so much until you want to start to speak up a little bit, and actually say what you think. But when I retire or get in a position that you're in, I'll be able to say what I think a lot more.
You had don't come on here and bullshit me. You had to know that when you put that tweet out, there was going to be a reaction. Come on, you had to
I,
know.
I didn't give a shit though. I don't
Yeah,
really give a
yeah,
shit at all. Like I'm
yeah.
done giving any shits at all about any of it. When it comes to, it's almost like there are two different sets of rules, and if you if you have a view that's a little bit more traditional, or I'm a Christian guy, it's like there's a different set of rules for that viewpoint, and it's hard to just turn the other cheek time after time after time. So yeah, I didn't really care, and I don't care at all, which is a good thing. I think it's good and healthy to get to that place, compared to, you know, oh gosh, I don't want to get canceled. I don't want to get people upset. I don't give a shit. I'm just going to say certain things my problem is I have a temper. And so if I get to that point, if that fuse gets lit, I let it go and then I'll explode and say something. So that I have to be careful of.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I live vicariously through you. I live
I,
vicariously through you and listen to you talk.
dude, like, man, I like being
You
this
just let it
age. I
fly.
wish I didn't
I
have to get
mean,
any older.
hey, that catcher's still, he's flipping down the one on every pitch with you. I mean, it's just Nolan Ryan every time, every time. God bless you
Yeah,
for
I like
bringing the
being
heater.
I like being this age, Herbie. I like being this age. And I wish I could get Benjamin Button a few years younger, but this age, like, all right, well, you can get mad at me. Good for you, man. Great. But
Yeah,
to the point, I have been outspoken about women and their spaces. I think I've told you this. My stepdaughter was a star third baseman, just
yeah,
graduated from Harvard, won 2 Ivy League. My wife's a legend in the softball world and was one of the original, like not original, she's not that old, but she fought for Title IX. Their family had to move from Ohio to just over from Perrysburg into Ottawa Lakes, Michigan, because they didn't have softball in women's softball in Ohio in the 80s. They just didn't have it. So when I see and I know and I talk to Coach Hutchins and different softball coaches, different places that I've been, I know how hard women fought to get Title
yeah.
IX. I know how hard they fought, and all of a sudden, I never understood this. Herbie, tell me what you think. All right, I'm sorry. I want to hear your point, not mine. If you're transitioning from a man to a woman or a woman to a man, I'm inclusive. Just go play with the men and see what happens. Why does everybody have to play? There was a softball player at Harvard that was going from a girl to a boy playing with the girls. Leah Thomas, the swimmer, was going from a boy to a girl competing against women. Why is it always against women? Just be inclusive. Go play against the men, see how that works out. But that's not even a conversation, Herbie.
No, it's not. It's not. But I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense. It just seems that it's, again, you kind of get into that world of being politically correct, and I think once you do that, I don't know enough about the topic to really be able to give a strong, like, educated opinion on the science of this. This is such a
Yeah.
what you're saying makes sense to me. But
No,
it's
that's not good.
that's not good. Why? Why is that?
If I'm making sense, that's a problem. I tell you, I'll tell you one thing, two things. One, I want to get into LSU. I think Brian Kelly's a great coach, and I think he wins everywhere he is. One of my best friends, my best friend growing up, he was roommates with Brian Kelly at Grand Valley when they were grad assistants. And, I've always known Brian Kelly. I'm looking at LSU's schedule, Arkansas. I look at road games. I think they're great. That's one. And the second thing is, I live on this lake here, and your boy McAfee has bought 3 houses on this lake. Now, you got to tell the boy, like, I'm on a boat the other day, and he's waving me down. I go, I didn't know you lived here. He goes, yeah, we bought this one, and we're waiting for that one for us to move in. That boy's out of his collective mind, Herbie.
Yeah.
He's nuts.
Yeah.
Those are my 2 questions. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, LSU, I'm with you. I when Brian Kelly went to LSU and left Notre Dame, it wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when. He was going to get them to understand you're going to follow the rules. You're going to go to class. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. And if you don't, you're not going to play. You knew it was going to be a 1 or 2 years of just trying to steer this ship to have accountability. And you know what it's like. You came from the ultimate accountability and consequences, and you do it the right way, or you don't do it. And Brian Kelly, to his credit, in the world that we still live, where it's a little more challenging at times to do that, he's been able to go into the SEC with LSU and do that. And I think it's there, to me, it's like a bomb that's going to go off at any moment. I don't know if it's going to be this year. I don't know if it's going to be next year, in a good way, because I'm with you. He's going to recruit well. He's going to develop, and he's going to make guys do the little things that, to me, make the difference in being a good program and an elite program when you do those little things. And I think he'll get them to that point. Pat is, first of all, a guy that I watch from afar, much like you with your show. And it's different when you start to go to dinner with the guy and he's working on a show with you. You get to know him, and I always say this to people, because what they see is just Pat being crazy and the tank tops and all that. I'm like, I don't know if you're going to have a better teammate than Pat McAfee. Like, Pat McAfee, first of all, was very deferential to the Gameday brand when he walked in. He was very deferential to Lee Corso when he first came on this show, to Reese, to Desmond, to everybody. And he works hard. He's like the dream teammate. He's always prepared. Some people walk into a room, they take energy away from the room. Other people walk into the room and they provide energy to a room. Pat provides energy to the room, undefeated in that category. I've never been around him when he's just not feeling it today. The dude wakes up like ready to go. And it really, I'm telling you, man, this is my 29th year on the show. And I'm not just saying this to say it. Like, he is a big part of the reason I could never even imagine not doing the show with him and Des and everybody we have on the show, because of what's going on behind the scenes and how much we like each other. Like, genuinely, we like each other. We want to go to dinner together. We want to hang out. And I really think when you do, again, TV, when you do TV, especially studio TV, that camera can tell bullshit versus not, and like, when you're not like genuine and liking each other, I think it really shows. And Pat cannot tell you how much he has impacted the show in a very positive way on every category you'd hope for. As far as him and his houses, man, I have no idea. I think he bought a house for he's going to tear it down, maybe make it a yard. I don't know what he's doing, but he's determined to live out there, and he loves it. He loves living in Indy and doing his show, and God bless the guy, man.
Hey, last thing. Real quick, Ohio State. Urban keeps talking about. He told me it's most talent he's seen them have. Fastest team. Is you liking it? Where you at with Ohio State? I got a feeling this is going to be a great year.
Here again, I keep going back to you and your sports career as a player and as a coach, but one thing when you're sitting around in August with college football, and you look at the magazines, you look at the players that are returning, and nowadays with the NIL and the transfer portal, and you haven't really looked at it for a few months. You got to remember what SMU's in the ACC, Cal and Stanford are in the ACC. You got to get reacclimated to the game, and these quarterbacks and their dads. I mean, they're popping around everywhere, So you start to look at it, and of course, Ohio State and Georgia, these kind of teams jump out on paper. But again, it's all about this, and this means in August, do you have those moments when you come together as a team? Do you hit adversity in the first few weeks, and when you hit that adversity, do you point fingers, or do you overcome it and become even stronger as a team? So yeah, on paper they're talented, but I'd ask you this, Dan: when was the last time Ohio State didn't have more talent than almost every team they played?
Yeah,
Talent's never been an issue with Ohio State. It's more about chemistry, it's more about toughness, and it's more about coming together. Like the way they played against Georgia a couple years ago in the playoff, they came up a little bit short. That team with CJ Stroud, boy, they're talented, but man, they were on a mission. Is this team going to read their press clippings? Is this team going to throw their helmet out there and just assume they're going to beat everybody? Or are they going to play with a chip on their shoulder? Are they going to play angry? Because if they don't find a way to do that, they'll lose. It's really simple. They've never had a shortage of talent. Yeah, they have more this year, but they better find a way to come together as a team, because at the end of the day, with all the individuality on social media, all the individuality on NIL and the money, this game will expose you. It's not about the best individual 11. It's about the best 11 to play as one. And that's what's great about the sport for me. I love team sports, and I love how you have to come together. And we'll see if they end up doing that. They definitely have the talent to win it all.
Yeah, it's interesting. People say, well, this or that, and I always say, man, well, what's going on in that locker room? Just what's going on in that? Do you happen to? I call them Seinfeld guys. Without Jerry Seinfeld, everybody probably didn't even talk to each other. Who's the guy that brings everybody in? Who's the guy that is right here, and everybody can't wait to hang out with Herbie? Great talking to you, man. Thanks. That was awesome, by the way, what you said about Pat. That was awesome. Best of luck to
bro.
Pat.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Herbie. Thanks, man.
Hey, you guys reach out anytime throughout the season if you guys want to talk. Let me know.